Hello and welcome to Korero, the big conversation table, where we'll discuss issues and analyze matters across Nigeria, Africa, and by extension, the world. My name is Godwin Sunday. Today we'll be looking at issues that borders on Benue State, various attacks that have happened in the last 5 years, even in Benue State, and by extension, try to see if we can also uh, x-ray different states across the country. Well, we'll take a short break right now. When we return, we will begin the conversation. Please stay with us. Back now, before we even dive into the conversation, earlier today, the National Association of Idoma Security Professionals had a meeting in order to even discuss about the recent happenings in Benue State. We'll take a look at the video. When we return, we will even talk more and build a background to this conversation. Let's take a look at the video.
2026, Ondo Boju has also been attacked again. Properties destroyed and thousands displaced. The response from the Benue State government under Governor Reverend Hyacinth Alia and his deputy Governor Sam Odi remain grossly inadequate. The National Association of Idoma Security Professionals will make these bold steps this morning to address this press, and our position is to clearly put that the Benue State government has failed in its constitutional duty under Section 14, Subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution. So we therefore demand immediate resignation of Governor Hyacinth Alia and his deputy Sam Odi. 2, we request for immediate declaration of state of emergency in Benue State by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Asiwaju. Number 3, on our demand here this morning is an immediate local surge to Tupo local government and all flashpoints. On July 12th.
Now, let's bring this issue into perspective. Now, the Benue State has once again witnessed a resurgence of deadly attacks, leaving many residents dead, injured, and displaced. Well, recent incidents in Utupo, Kwande, Katsina, Ala, and also other parts of the state have heightened fears about the worsening security situation in the state. The attacks have disrupted farming activities, destroyed properties, and deepened the humanitarian crisis in the community that rely heavily on agriculture. Reports over the past weeks indicate repeated assaults by armed groups, with security agencies deploying additional personnel in response. The recent attacks in Benue State underscores the urgent need for a comprehensive security strategy that combines military action, intelligence-led policing, justice, humanitarian support, and conflict resolution. While security deployment may reduce immediate threats, lasting peace will require addressing the root causes of violence, protecting vulnerable communities, and strengthening a cooperation between government and local stakeholders. So tonight on Korero, I'm joined by a security and a forensic security expert in the person of Dr. Morgan Okocha, who will be helping us put all of these issues in perspective. Well, first, it's a delight to have you join us on Korero, Dr. Okocha Morgan.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to be in this studio, Rapid Television. In fact, when I received your call this afternoon about my presentation, I accepted it wholeheartedly because Benue State is a state that I love so much. It's the food basket of the Federation. So I remain Dr. Ambassador Okocha Morgan, the Director General, Institute of Security and Forensic Study, Nigeria.
Well, Dr. Okocha, the latest attacks in Otupo, Nobi, Benue State, reportedly left at least 8 people dead, according to police, while Amnesty International placed the death toll higher. The incident is part of a broader pattern of recurring violence affecting several communities in Benue State. Doctor, from a security and forensic perspective, why do these attacks continue despite increased military and security personnel's deployment, even in a state like Benue, the food basket of the nation, as you've called it?
Yeah, thank you. The situation in Benue State is a multi-dimensional conflict situation. The state, as it is, has recorded far back as 10 years, 20 years ago, there had been issue of conflict of interest and armed robbery attack and all of that. Even when the life is taken, people are moving, doing their normal duty. But recently, the situation is so alarming. Killings every day, communal clashes, farmer-herder conflict. I think the government should deploy a systematic and intelligence-led outcome to avert future. It has happened. Now, what we continue is investigation platform to avert future occurrence. So it is negative, it is demolic, it is, I had to condemn it to the highest ramification because life are involved, most especially the TV nation in Benue State has been affected with crisis upon crisis. I remember some time ago I was going to Benue State, I saw a lot of people moving from their villages with their head carrying their load and all of that. And people are not sleeping with their two eyes closed. It is something that is troublesome and worrisome.
Doctor, many have taxonomized and classified these attacks to involve a lot of factors. Now, but then, looking at what has happened between the 12th to 13th of this month in Akpachi, in Otukpo Nobi, in Otukpo local government area, where a lot of incidents of successive assaults has played out. Now, over 18 people have been reportedly killed. Many also have been reportedly injured. Even this morning, the July 14th, in Odo, Ogboju, and also a lot of places within the whole Otukpo axis.
Yes.
When we look at all of this, can we say that these attacks are primarily headers, farmers clashes, organized criminal operations, or acts of terrorism?
It's an act of terrorism. It's an act of terrorism. Any attempts to create tension to the security of the state is a terrorism attack. It is not a clashes, as people may say it. It is not a conflict, as people may say it, but it is an act of terrorism. Now, when you look at terrorism attack, from the terms, it is something that causes tension. It is an action that takes life. It is an action that purported arson. Arson, I mean burning of houses, killing of people, not to one person, not to, in fact, the government should look into this situation with the forensic perspective of deployment. Forensic tools should be used to deploy in advancement of deploying security apparatus, or not ordinary sending a troop to the location. There are a lot of forensic applications that should be deployed to avert most of these things. Now, if you look at that, the situation, it happens time to time. Once it happens, it will take some time. It happens when they discover that securities are relaxed, people are relaxed, not minding that. It is when they discover that people are relaxed, they will strike again. So it is a continuous action. So it is an act of terrorism. People that are arrested should be taken charged with an action with a terrorism perspective. Now, if I should profile a solution to this continuous crisis, We have an intelligence-led platform. Not only deploying troops will solve the problem, but bringing the intelligence experts, bringing the advanced deployment of forensic apparatus. We talk of how do we gather intelligence? How do we analyze this intelligence? How do you process this intelligence? The insecurity nature in that environment, is it suitable for gathering of this intelligence? Who deployed the intelligence? Who processed the intelligence? Who give a classifying information? These are things that need to be handled properly. Then the scientific use of forensic tools like drone, details, surveillance with biosphere. Detailed surveillance with biosphere, I mean, is condone the forest. If it is discovered that forests are where they stay or where they live or what they call, you strike that forest.
Well, Doctor.
Yes.
Just let me even interject here.
Yes.
There were early warning signs after the death of the Magban chairman in Benue State. That was somewhere around. But according to report, the government paid deaf ears to all of these early warning signs. 48 hours plus, no deployment even in Akpachi and Otuko, nor the attacks, no visible security presence before Ondo Oboju was hit this morning. Now, looking at the intelligence gathering, which you've talked about so far, what does this recent attacks and the modalities of this attack, what does it even reveal about the current intelligence gathering capacity of Nigerian security agencies?
If you have listened to the association from Benue State, they are calling for the resignation of the governor. State of emergency should be pronounced in Benue State. But I think that has element of political undertone. What the government did was a failure of intelligence sharing, deployment of security team to cover this area. I know that was areas. When it happens, when the killing of the chairman of Mete Allah, I think that was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
That was somewhere in June 26th.
Of course, yes. In fact, we don't need prophet to tell us that there will be a reprisal attack. There will be a counter-attack. I was expecting the government to deploy mechanisms, structural mechanism, to providing security for the people around the prone areas. But the government was so relaxed that they don't take intelligence information seriously. I think I had to come in by requesting the government to stop the bureaucracy in commanding of troops to locations where they have crisis. By the time you undermine intelligence reports, it costs heavily. You know that intelligence is proactive in nature. It's an action taken to avert, to prevent crime. Once there is failure of intelligence, that is when you will start talking about investigation, what has happened, and the outside effect has taken place, and it has cost heavily to both the populace and the government, because government must feel the impact, because people will no longer have confidence in the governance. People can take law into their hands. A lot of things can come up. People would render homeless.
But in such a situation of this magnitude,
yes,
there have been speculations that this coordinated and sequential attacks is aimed at even depopulating Idoma communities, displacing the Idoma-loving people, and also giving their land to easier settlement by other minority political or minority groups, even in Benue State. Looking at the attacks and the whole role the Nigerian security agencies play, can we put the blame largely on the government or the security that failed to act
on the
proactively?
Security is the government.
Well, in this particular, in the light of this conversation,
I am not going to accept that scenario or that concept that the aim is to depopulate, reduce the number of Idoma communities. It is not true. The crisis have been a lot. In fact, a lot of locations experience this issue of terrorism attack. Plateau State is part of the north. So are we agreeing that because of this crisis, it is to reduce the number of community members in the community? No, I disagree. It is an action, unresolved conflict. Because most of these actions are as a result of an unresolved conflict. Conflict of interest. What has happened before, what is happening now, and what is about to happen. That is what causes conflict. Now, if I should look at this in this way, in a civil perspective, the community involved, the party involved should be called upon. And I made mention of last time I had an interview that these headers, they should give them routes for their livestock. They should provide a place for them where they can accommodate and feed their cattle and their rams. If that is provided, I think this will solve some of these problems we are facing. This issue of failure to give a place where these headers can rear their animals, it has resulted in a lot of issues. And this request has been for a time immemorial. There has been a request on this, that the headers should be given a location where they can perform their farming. And then having a policy or a law that will protect them, give them that environment, making them feel that they belong to the community. I believe that if I move to Benue State today, being at Benue, they should accept me with every.
So you're saying you're saying at this point it's not that the governor is turning a blind eye at the people of Idoma, because that's the what's on ground. I know people are saying that the governor is not proactive when it has to do with the good people of Idoma, but rather when it has to do with the Igede, perhaps the Tea people of Benue State, the governor is very proactive, and he would have even issued out a statement or visited those communities almost instantly. But right now, the governor is not doing any of that. Can we say this is these assertions are correct, that the governor is on a blind eye, and as such, security agencies also
let me put that statement right.
All right.
Governor is governing a state, and he has good heart for all these indigenous of the state. I don't think the action or this attack is focusing people of Idoma. I don't agree. The governor is there to give instruction. If we said that the governor did not give instruction, deploying of the armed forces, I think it is the president. The blame should go to the president.
And not the governor.
Not the governor. The governor is tagged as the chief of security in the state, but he doesn't have that power to deploy armed forces to a location in that magnitude. He only briefed the government. He only briefed the governor, the president. But it is the duty of the president to deploy.
Section 14, subsection 2B of the Nigerian Constitution states, and I quote, that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Section 305, subsection 3 of the Constitution gives ground for state of emergency, which includes actual breakdown of public order and public safety. Now, Benue meets most of these conditions right now. Of course, security and welfare of the people is supposed to be the sole responsibility of the government. By extension, the governor who happens to be the chief security officer of that state. Are we saying that the governor have no role to play in this? The sole responsibility goes to the president under the exclusive legislative list to be able to address this concern, and as such, many people should not call for the resignation of the governor. Is that what you're saying?
It is their right to call for resignation of the governor. It is their right. It is their civil right. It is the civil rights of citizens to call for resignation of a president, even the governor. But if you talk of this the constitutional power of the governor in terms of security. The governor have limited power to control the security of a state. If I might ask, where can the governor be called the chief of armed forces? Is it not the president? It is the president that commands, is the commander of the armed forces. He can direct, he can instruct. But I listened to the Minister of Defense last time. He said any military officer that failed to shoot when a crime is committed has failed his duty. He said at any point in time you discover a situation like that, shoot. But then, that shooting, who is going to give the analysis? Some soldiers, when they shoot like this and it becomes an issue, they are being denied. The government will deny them. So sometimes these personnel fail to do that because they feel that when that is done and there is issue, it will nail them. But that is not a good development, that a military officer who witness a crisis where somebody is using firearm and fail to shoot, he cannot justify his action. But then let me tell you, who's supposed to call state of emergency? Is it the governor or the federal government?
We go with the federal government.
Of course. So if governors, if the president should analyze and look at, listen to security chief of security chiefs and underscore.
But you don't think that the governor should bring this to even to the president for urgent attention?
No. It's not possible. The governor cannot go to the president to tell
if the number of deaths in the state, just in Yewata,
Nigeria,
you know how many deaths was recorded in Yewata.
Let me tell you,
we
Africa, we find it difficult to say the truth. The governor who is in that position, I can't assure you that any Nigerian governor can come to the president and tell the president the truth. They lie. They will tell the president that the situation is under control. We're on top of the matter. They don't complain to the president. If they have complained to the president now can deploy armed forces to that location. So that is why I said it is the failure of the government. Apart from the governor, the president should be receiving brief from the commissioner, from the IG, from the chief of defense staff, from the army, chief of army staff, chief of the Navy. All these are service chiefs that are supposed to be briefing him apart from the governor. Then the president now will assess the report. That is the work of National Security Advisor. And then advise the president to declare such a state of emergency. And I think recently, the state of emergency did not look at the way it is. Look at River State.
The River State incident.
What was the outcome of the state of emergency? Nothing. It has a lot of political undertone. Crises are still there. So if the president called the state of emergency now, it is people that don't want the governor to be there that are calling for the removal of the governor.
Well, so looking at all of this
incident
and bringing Benue again to the spotlight, are we saying that the government has not been fair to the people of Benue State in general by even taking their issues to the table and doorstep of the president as it should be?
Yeah, let me tell you something, that there was a time the chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, chief of naval staff moved their location, their headquarters to Benue State. And
a few days after they left, there was a reprisal attack.
Now, when they went to that place, when they were coming back, did they announce they are coming back? No. You move your state, your headquarters to Benue State. What was the impact? What was the lasting solution? So I think all of this I should be looking at state police. That should be the possible solution. so that the governors can be able to handle their respective states when it comes to crisis situation.
Well, let's come to the issue around justice and arrest. Most times whenever incident of this magnitude plays out, the first thing we hear governments and governors and the CPs of different divisions and of course the states will say is that the issue will be addressed, and of course the public should go about their duty. Security agencies are doing what they know how to do best. But again, we'll see quite a number of arrests in the first few weeks of such incidents. Thereafter, it tends to be funfair and everything returned back to normalcy because justice is not being seen as served. In this, looking at the justice system, I begin to ask from even yourself, who is a security expert, why are successful prosecutions of perpetrators so rare despite recurring attacks, even in Benue State?
Thank you very much. It is a peculiar matter. The issue of criminal justice system in Nigeria is a peculiar matter that needs urgent attention. I was delivering a lecture on investigation, gathering of evidence, forensic evidences. Of course, government has already approved amended the Evidence Act that admit electronically generated evidence as before the courts of law. Most of the arrests lack evidences. You can arrest, but do you have the fact to present before the court? That is where forensic investigation step in. Forensic investigation deal with arrest from start up from process of arrest, statement taking, exhibit collection, and prosecution, expert opinion before the courts. Now, if all these things are not carried out, when someone is arrested without all this evidence recorded, the person's case arrival is like the movement of Ododo.
You don't think we should rather amend Section 131 of the Evidence Act in order to make the work seamless, which says that him that alleges must prove. The proof in the criminal justice system.
It's an international concept.
Well, we shouldn't have amended it to suit the Nigerian
yes,
purpose.
if you allege, you should prove now. That is why I'm saying forensic proof now coming. The security structures should bring in forensic experts to expertise actions on the use of forensics in carrying out investigation. Because when all these investigations are not properly conducted, using a native process of investigation, you may not get it right. Because while in court, they ask you to provide evidence. And evidence that is transmitted through electronic medium is acceptable in court. So why can't government spend money to equip personnel of investigation on the use of forensic tools?
Well, Doctor, again, there have been this reoccurring thing where across board we see this narrative and this pattern play out. And that pattern is whenever there is an attack in any part of Benue State, the first thing people point to is opposition political parties are trying to disrupt the process in order for them to frustrate the governor and by such use that as a campaign strategy to unseat a sitting governor. Can we say that this is the norm right now, even in Benue State, or is that what we experience?
Definitely, it's part of the political undertone. There are strategies. You cannot rule it out. But nevertheless, you cannot completely agree that this attack is targeted to removing the governor. No. It's part of the target the opposition uses. You can use propaganda too, can also be used as a tool against the government.
At the detriment of people's lives.
Yes, of course. They are political concepts. Now, if the government can realize this, the governor can sit down, bring in all the expertise for solution, for heart-to-heart, intelligent information gathering formation, deploying tools, troop to that location, enhance surveillance with forensic surveillance, using of machine devices to carry out surveillance. And that will be helpful. Believe me today, if the government should deploy the armament of forensic, that will be, all this crisis will be turned to pass.
But you've talked about a lot of forensic and deployment by the government. One would have been expecting that perhaps you should talk about even security, the commanders in various theaters.
Okay.
Shouldn't these commanders also be held accountable when attacks reoccur in the same locations where they are commanders? Shouldn't they be brought to book and be subjected to some form of accountability? Because it's as if it's most attacks in Benue State is having a field day. It's becoming a reoccurring thing. Commanders are not being held.
Let me tell you.
Be having such a conversation.
Let me tell you the problem with armed forces. They are using the orthodox method for surveillance and the security formations. We don't need this for now. Keeping a soldier in a place, he will sleep. What are advancement of using equipment for surveillance? It is not expensive. The government can acquire that. They are human beings. They take their life. They are having blood, flesh and blood. They will tell you that the firearm these people are carrying is more than our own. And it could be true. They can use that as an excuse to escape punishment. They can tell you that it was a gun do or exchange of gun do or exchange of gunfire. That at a point, 5 of them were killed. We don't ask of where are their corpses. They can use that to tell you they have tried their best as an officer. But the government should wake up to their responsibility by equipping this troop with modern technology to combat this terroristic attack. So on my own, as a forensic expert, I had to key in with new modern security architecture formations.
Well, so Doctor, beyond the military deployments, from Akpachi to Otukpo, Nobi, Uboju, Ondo, and other parts of Benue State, we've seen the last 3 days, we've recorded minimum 18 deaths in these communities that I just mentioned, even in Otukpo local government. But the traditional rulers in those localities tend to be silent when this incident occur. Does this mean that the traditional institutions have suddenly been relegated to the back door of inconsequential when it has to do with lives of indigents in these communities?
Let me tell you something. These traditional rulers that are in the location, they are also being affected. I watched a scene where the traditional ruler, how his house was first attacked. He was killed. So many of them were homeless. And if they are too pressed with these issues, what is their life? What is the security of their life? They are in the village, and these people are in the village. Let me tell you, in Zamfara State, traditional ruler cannot condemn the action of these insurgents. If you condemn it, the next day they will come and eliminate you. If you condemn it, the next day they will come and eliminate it. And the government are not providing security for anybody. It is the fear of unknown. Not that they are not pained. or it's not affecting them. It's the fear of unknown. They are not protected.
Doctor, if these attacks continue unchecked, what then is likely the security and economic implication for Nigeria over the next 5 years?
There will be serious crisis, because that can result to anarchy. That can result to lawlessness. That can even lead to poverty. That can result to hunger. And when people are hungry, they can do anything to get themselves fixed. Criminals will use that opportunity to also perform their disease. So I want to call the governments to nip this to the bud, to make sure that this thing has been discontinued. Whatever it costs the government to do this, they should deploy all the equipment, all the security architecture should be properly harnessed, so that we can also protect the life and the property of these citizens.
Well, you talked about protection of lives and properties of the citizens. And also you mentioned the reprisal attack. You gave a typical example of Zamfara State, where if you report or condemn as a traditional institution, you condemn all of this, you will be attacked. But then not just in Zamfara State.
Everywhere.
A lot of communities will say right now, if you speak up, you might get missing. And as such, the level of information gathering is right now dwindling. In the light of this, can we then say that reporting to security agencies or partnering with security agencies is further exposing individuals to reprisal attack? If that is yes, what then should one begin to do in order to protect vulnerable communities? Like what we said.
I think in the course of our discussion, I said the government should wake up to their responsibility.
But the government have to talk to individuals even in those communities.
Yes, even if you talk to an individual about providing intelligence or providing information about the criminals, and the criminals, they know them. Let me just tell you that rumor in the village spread more than the radio station. When you are tagged as someone who leak information of this dreaded the Boko Haram to the government, they would attack you and kill you, wipe your family out. So if you know that this thing will affect your family and your neighborhood, you'll be able to maintain yourself.
So what do we do? Where do we go from here?
Definitely,
because the security issue even happening in Benue State right now needs a lot of information gathering, and also a lot of solutions should be proffered. So what do we do right now?
Then I think the government should strengthen up security in the locality. Local security should be strengthened and be equipped. Finance local securities. They know the terrains. Equip them. Pay them. Deploy them. They will do more than the conventional security officers. Local vigilantes. In fact, with this, I should call for state police, because this state police now will be paid by the government. Will be paid by the governor, of course. And the governor is going to make sure you appoint someone who is working as a commissioner.
With the Benue State incident, are we already late in the state police conversation with what's happening in Benue State? Are we saying Nigerian is already late in having the conversation around state police?
No, it's not. The state police in Benue State is not late to implement. Of course, we are not waiting for the assent of the president.
With the number of deaths recorded right now?
Yes, of course. That will be the solution.
And we are not late?
It's not late.
To call for state policing?
It's not late. If we have not, National Assembly, although they said
the National Assembly, the joint
is waiting for the consent of the president.
Of 2/3 of even the states, national and the state assemblies across
state assembly all have.
So looking at all of this and looking at what the president and every of the institutions responsible for the state policing are doing right now, and the number of deaths in the last 3 days in Benue State keep skyrocketing. Are we not late in this conversation?
No, we are not late. Why I support the state police, because let me tell you, there are some villages police cannot get to that place. There are some villages in this Nigeria, even local stations cannot go there. They are left with community vigilantes. And these people, they take their life at risk. They don't pay them. They don't equip them. So what will motivate them? Nothing. They are just there. They are eager to do the job. Now, if this state police can be properly harnessed, they can deploy them. Let me tell you that local policing will be more effective than federal police.
You think so?
Yes, definitely. I've studied it. Take my word today. State police, local policing will give good results when it is implemented. Because community by community know the people in that environment. If any visitor comes to that community, they will identify the visitor and they will know the person's background. That is local policing. State police, local government police. If that can be implemented, give power to traditional institutions.
Well, Doctor, as we begin to wrap up, Benue State holds a very strong position when it has to do with being the food resources of the country. If these attacks persist, should Nigerians be worried over more inflation? Even looking at where we are right now, should we be worried that the cost of national food security, inflation, and internal will skyrocket? Should we be worried at this point?
It has started affecting the economic situation of Nigeria. Benue State has a food basket of the nation. Nobody in Benue State have a conviction to go to farm without being afraid. Farmers can no longer go to farm. How would the food come? When the farmer go to farm, they will be kidnapped. When the farmer go to farm, they will be killed. When the farmer go to farm, they will be raped. Farmers are no longer going to farm, let me tell you, and it's affecting the economic system of Nigeria. So if this thing continues, there will be hunger, there will be starvation.
Doctor, Benue State, like a few other states, prior to this time, historically, especially the Idoma community, have been known to be very active people when it has to do with defending their territories. Many parts of Nigeria also have told that part of becoming very dogged when it has to do with defending their territorial integrity. As a country, as a people, as ethnic nationalities, at what point did we miss it? And how can we go back to safeguarding our communities when the need arises from a forensic perspective?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Most of this, the fight we experience now, these people are being sponsored. They buy gun, sophisticated weapon. Somebody who don't have gun. Before now, Benue State, as it is, they can fight with bare hands. They can fight the enemy with bare hand and defeat the enemy. But now, the narrative have changed. This enemy comes with sophisticated weapon. Can you, even if you're a hero, even if you're a warrior, can you withstand the gun? That is the problem. Not that Benue State failed to defend themselves, but this enemy that are coming around has a lot of equipment.
So what should the indigenes and the ethnic nationalities do in this regard?
I have just recommended that government should equip the local securities.
Equip the indigenes,
yes,
the ethnic nationalities,
yes, of course.
Or a particular security apparatus should be open for that, for the localities.
Of course, I have made mention of state policing.
But you're saying state policing is taking a lot of time. And of course, a lot of persons in Benue State are advised not to take laws into their hands.
Yes,
in
definitely.
order not to, of course, we won't advocate for them to take laws into their hands, but the
No.
numbers keep
What I'm
skyrocketing.
saying is that
What should we do?
The law
What
should
should we
enable,
do?
the law now should enable local security to be equipped.
How fast, how slow? Are we not late already?
No.
In all of this conversation,
We are not
looking
late.
at the numbers
We are not
of
late.
deaths in Benue State,
We are not
the numbers
late.
keep skyrocketing.
It has happened that the solution is what we are looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What would
So
be
now
the solution
we
right now
recommend
that will take
we
the
are
next few
recommending
days?
we are now recommending
because
that the president should act fast.
A lot of people in Benue State right now are trying not to take laws, even in Idomala, are trying not to take laws into their hands.
Definitely.
But then, should we, how then do we tell them not to take laws into their hand? And what time frame can we give them in order to mitigate these challenges?
That
if
is
we want to go by forensic.
That is why we are in the public domain today, asking the president to act fast.
Can we put a time frame to it? So that the people
The
can...
earlier the better.
The earlier the better. Is there a time frame? Because people from Benue State watching us right now, especially from people from the Idoma-speaking tribe of Benue State watching, they are trying to be law-abiding. But then, what we're telling the government to act fast, can we add a time frame as a professional in order for the government? Because the government listens to you, and of course, this message will get faster to the government. Please.
Yes, of course. From the forensic perspective, anything that has to do with security should not be slowed. The action should be immediate. So I am calling the president to act fast. The faster it is, the better it will be. Before people, the villagers start chasing the politicians. Before the youth start chasing the government officials. Before the youth start taking law into their hands. Because people are unhappy. Benue State people are unhappy. If you go there, you'll see how disappointive they feel. So the government should act fast. The Minister of Interior should advise the government. The National Security Advisor should ask the government to act fast. The earlier, the better. The governor of Benue State should also step up. Local strengthened securities. I can see some locations, some states, they equip their vigilantes, buy vehicle for them, pay them stipends. Let the governor set up a module to enhancing security within his power. Before the government, the president will act. Let him act within his own power.
Well, it's a good way to say thank you so much, Dr. Okocha Morgan, for finding out time to be with us here on Korero.
Thank you very much.
Well, viewers, how far we can go tonight. Our hearts and our love go out to Benue State, especially Apache, Otukpo, Nobi, and also the Otukpo local government area and other local government area in Benue State that are experiencing one challenge or the other. Our heart and our love go out to you. We're using this medium to please call. We are calling for you to give peace a chance and return back to the drawing board for us to live in peace and harmony as one people. My name is Godwin Sunday. Do not forget that you can leave your thoughts, you can leave your conversation, you can leave your comments on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Till I come your way again, same time, same station. Do enjoy the rest of your night rest. Bye for now. From the corridors of power to the heart